Hello, fellow Rebel Capitalists. Hope you're well. Doing a lot better. Eyes getting better. That's why I can wear these glasses now without grossing you guys out. It was so swollen I couldn't even. I my eye was basically swollen shut. But well, I won't go into the gory details. But they were able to cut it open and reduce the swelling and whatnot. Now it's almost back to normal. Well, I still have a hard time seeing, but as far as the size, it's almost back to normal. So anyway, that's good news. So I'm very optimistic. Next week we'll be able to get back to doing the 2 whiteboard videos, the interviews, and the live streams on this channel. So going back to maybe I might ease into it, but hopefully within the next 2 weeks or so we'll get back to a normal content schedule. All right. I wanted to go over an article I saw on Zero Hedge. And I'm talking about how good my eyes getting, and now I can't even see where the article is. No, that's not it. Well, what did we do with this? I'll just pull it up again. So I'm not, or wait, this is it. Here it is, right here. Okay. So this is an article on Zero Hedge talking about how Chamath is, and if you guys remember from watching my whiteboard videos, and we'll get into that in just a moment, I called him Cham Spacketh because he was the king of SPACs. And if you guys recall back in the mid 2021, this was all the rage. Remember the SPACs? And Chamath was on CNBC every single day talking about how great his next investment was going to be, or his next takeover opportunity, or merger, whatever you want to call it, with these vehicles that he set up to take opportunities or entities public. So why do you need a SPAC to do that? Why can't you just take it public? Oh, it's just shh, be quiet. You're just fear mongering, George. Okay, I was going back to kind of the argument back then. But remember, CNBC was having him on every day, and initially, I didn't really have an opinion on Chamath, but then he was very rude to Schiff in a very unprofessional way. And I get it. You can agree or disagree with Schiff, but the one thing about Peter you'll notice is he's always very professional. And he may say that the Fed is making a mistake and blah, 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 blah. But he's always respectful, and he's never using profanity. And, he would never publicly call Jerome Powell, well, like a 4-letter word or something like that. And that's what Chamath did to Peter. And that was the first thing that kind of raised a red flag for me. And when someone does that, my spidey sense is like, I don't know about this person as far as the level of their integrity, if they're willing to do that on an open forum like Twitter. But then what happened next is I noticed that he did a SPAC with Opendoor. And I don't know the ins and outs of a lot of publicly traded companies or large businesses, but I do know real estate. And when he got on CNBC and went on and on and on for about 10 minutes as to why Opendoor was going to revolutionize, it's going to disrupt real estate, I was like, this guy's on crack. Like, this is utter nonsense. And that's when I knew that, I think he might be a little bit better salesman than he is an investor. And I wanted to point out, not to really pat myself on the back, but just so people know that I'm not a Monday quarterback here. I did a video on this. If you guys want to watch it, it's called Jim Chanos, currentbubbleworsethan.com. And this is actually when I drew Chamath and called him Cham Spacketh. And I'll just play a little bit of it here. Jim Chanos himself. But let's use this guy as an example. He is a specialist when it comes to SPACs. His name is Cham SPAC. Cham SPAC. We'll assume he's probably a foreigner. So I talked about these SPACs and how I think I went into Opendoor specifically and how was the trigger for me, the catalyst where I knew this was all just complete nonsense and this was going to most likely turn out very poorly for investors. So my point in going back to this zero hedge, there it is here's Opendoor. And you see that from its highs, it is down 84%. And I feel sorry for the investors, but this is what he was touting was going to, quote unquote, revolutionize the real estate business. And you'll notice that when his stocks really started to perform poorly is when the Fed came out and said they're going to raise interest rates. It was November 2021. And since then, they've just gone straight down pretty much. But this is the problem. And I think the point here, and I'll leave it at this, is those SPACs that we saw in the middle of last year and last summer, I think that could have been, when we look back on this in 5-10 years, we could say to ourselves, oh, of course, that marked the top of the bubble. That's for sure. And I just wanted to point that out, food for thought. And that would imply that we're still in a bear market. If we are, there's a lot more downside on the horizon. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. As always, make sure that you're standing up for freedom, liberty, free market capitalism. See you in the next video.